Good afternoon and welcome to EyeOnSheridan. I'm Lucas Metz.
And I'm Molly Brown. The OPP launches another distracted driving campaign. Stephen Harper is accused of Islamophobia, and 7 Marines remain missing after helicopter crash.
But first, a developing story in Toronto today. A man suspected of plotting terror attacks is in custody pending deportation. Janzab Malik was arrested on Monday by the Canada Border Services Agency. According to the agency, Malik plotted to bomb the U.S. consulate as well as various financial buildings in Toronto. Malik faces no criminal charges and will appear for another detention hearing on Monday.
It is up to a jury to decide the fate of 2 men charged with plotting to derail a passenger train traveling between Toronto and New York. Chayab Essagar and co-accused Raed Yasser face several charges in connection to the plot. Crown prosecutors say there is a substantial amount of evidence against the accused. Essagar has expressed his disgust at the Canadian judicial system, wanting only to be judged by the rules of the Quran.
2 hitmen to kill her parents is seeking to have her convictions overturned. Jennifer Pan was found guilty in December of first-degree murder of her mother and attempted murder of her father. Daniel Wong, her boyfriend at the time, was convicted of the same charges. In her notice of appeal, Pan says the verdict was unreasonable and not supported by the evidence. Pan also argues the jury selection process was fundamentally flawed. The attack initially appeared as a home invasion. Pan claimed that 3 men broke in, tied her up, and ransacked the house before shooting her parents.
Some classes at York University resumed today after a week-long strike by part-time faculty and staff. But some students are still frustrated because they are not back in class.
I just think it's a little out of whack that certain classes are going and certain are not. So if my summer is being extended because of 1 or 2 classes, and it's just messed up my whole plan.
The bargaining unit representing contract faculty voted in favor of the agreement, but 2 other units voted against it. University President Rhonda Lenton cautioned in a statement that tutorials and labs may be affected by the ongoing labor dispute. University officials are scheduled to meet up tomorrow to discuss plans aimed at resuming the balance of courses next week.
Voting for the Sheridan Board of Directors starts today and runs through Friday. Don't forget to cast your vote. The elected candidate will decide where your money goes around the school. You can cast your vote by going online to access Sheridan anytime during the day, or head on down to a voting booth in the B Wing or Skate Building from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And as a bonus, you will automatically be entered to win a $500 prize.
The Toronto District School Board is considering a proposal to eliminate more than 200 teaching positions and dozens of special education jobs. The move is an attempt to slash an estimated $16.5 million. The board will also consider a proposal tonight that would see the TDSB strike a deal with Toronto Parking Authority to rent parking spots downtown. The plan could generate an estimated $100,000 in the first year.
A Toronto man was arrested in connection with a child exploitation investigation. 43-year-old Patrick O'Malley is charged with 2 counts of possession of child pornography and accessing child pornography after police executed a search warrant at his Toronto residence. He is scheduled to appear in court on April 2nd.
36 vehicles in North York were broken into over the past 2 days. Toronto police are investigating 2 underground garages where the break-ins occurred. The thieves grabbed any visible items such as spare change and also vandalized some vehicles. Suspect descriptions have not yet been released.
Distracted driving deaths are expected to eclipse drunk driving deaths for the 7th straight year. Out of the 51 fatal collisions this year, 12 drivers were distracted behind the wheel. In 5 cases, it was the distracted driver who died. Police believe the driving behaviors that result in death are preventable. The OPP are launching another distracted driving campaign this weekend that will continue through March.
Liberal leader Justin Trudeau and NDP leader Thomas Mulcair are accused Prime Minister Harper of fostering intolerance and Islamophobia. Yesterday, the Prime Minister claimed that nearly all Canadians oppose women wearing the niqab or other religious headwear, calling it a practice rooted in a culture that is anti-woman. NDP ethics critic Charlie Angus says that if he were Muslim, he would be very, very concerned about what the Prime Minister said.
Former Sun News commentator Ezra Levant is being subpoenaed to testify at Senator Mike Duffy's upcoming fraud and bribery trial. Levant wrote a couple of speeches for Duffy earlier in the decade, and that's why the Crown wants to speak to him. Duffy is facing a series of breach of trust charges stemming from contract consultations over a 4-year period. It's unclear how Levant's work alongside Duffy will fit into the Crown's case. Levant has yet to comment.
The number of recorded measles cases in Quebec has skyrocketed, from 32 at the end of February to 119 as of today. Officials say the cases involve unvaccinated children and adults who are members of large families. All the cases have been traced back to an outbreak at Disneyland in California. A person reportedly visited the park and transmitted the virus upon returning to Quebec. And the United Nations is requesting that Canada contribute more money to help eliminate Ebola in West Africa. 2 UN officials are in Ottawa this week to inquire about an additional $25 to $50 million on the top of the $110 million already contributed by Canada. The UN says that while progress is still being made, they face a $400 million funding gap.
Sheridan College is taking big steps to reduce energy and carbon emissions by the end of the decade. Reporter Ryan Rossell is next.
In the first week, Sheridan is focusing on replacing lights with brighter and more efficient LEDs. But have students noticed these changes?
I honestly had no suspicions, but now that I think of it, when it gets later and when it gets darker, I do notice it is a bit brighter.
It seems to be brighter, and the LED system seems to be working well.
But just how well does this new system actually work? I talked with Andrew Kostakis, a faculty member in the Facility Services Department. He tells me the advantages LED lights have and just how much Sheridan has reduced its carbon footprint.
So you're really cutting back the energy, and the LEDs actually provide quite a bit of luminance, lamp lumens for the fixture, and so you really get a lot of punch for each fixture, and you actually have basically dimming ability too. So when we do the retrofits, we're basically kind of looking at the whole layout of the room, and we're kind of saying, okay, maybe we have too many fixtures, not too many. Let's bump up the levels to what they should be. We cut fixtures, and it's also controls too.
This is what some of the new LED lights look like here at Sheridan. The Learning Commons here at Trafalgar campus has seen one of the biggest improvements, as it is much brighter for students and faculty now. This is the first week the Energy and Climate Project is on campus to reduce our carbon emissions. Each week, a new project will be unveiled and continuing efforts to reach Sheridan's 2020 zero emissions goal. Live at Trafalgar campus in the Learning Commons, I'm Ryan Rossell for EyeOnSheridan. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Ryan. Let's take a look at what's coming up later in the show. Nathan's outside for weather. What can we expect this week?
Thanks, Molly. Well, halfway through March, and the weather's just too good to be true to us. But will that warm weather continue? I'll have that 5-day forecast for you later on. Now back to Danielle for your latest in entertainment.
Canadian hip-hop artist is the new host of radio show Q. Sheridan students will participate in community art exhibit, and who's performing at the Juno Awards. That and more to come at 3:30. Now to Jared for sports.
There's lots of bad news for local sports fan as another pitcher goes down for the Jays. The Raps were in tight against the Spurs last night, and the Leafs are dealing with discipline issues. Somehow TFC are a source of good news, oddly enough. Now back to the desk.
Thanks, Jared. Coming up next, armed robbers steal millions in France.
And our reporter Gabby Mendoza talks about how to shop on a student budget. More Eye on Sheridan after the break.
What happened?
You were in the shot.
Your camera was... Welcome back to EyeOnSheridan. While dressing well on a budget can be expensive, especially for students, our reporter Gabby Mendoza finds out how to get the most out of your student clothing budget.
$20, Calvin Klein. This is crazy.
Students are always on the hunt to save money, particularly on clothes. But there are still ways to look stylish and chic while on a student budget. First things first, nobody expects students to be wearing designer brands, but does spending more money really mean it's better quality?
I think sometimes that's true. Sometimes the prices are up because the quality is way better.
Go out, instead of buying a bunch of little things for $5 and $10 that you can only get one wear out of, buy things that can last you a really long time.
For example, a good winter coat, everyday jeans, and a reliable pair of shoes. But before you start to go shopping, take a look in your closet and make a list of the stuff that you need.
Think about your wardrobe when you're out shopping, so it's really good if you have a couple pieces already in your closet in mind when you go, so that way you can be like, okay, these jeans would go really well with this top, and this top.
Buy versatile and basic pieces that you can mix and match and can wear multiple ways.
I like to make a lot of things. I like to thrift a lot of things.
Be open to thrift shopping. Take your time and you will find great pieces without breaking your budget.
$14, and this is literally like a wool top coat, and it's heavy. Good quality white denim,
And take advantage of your student card. Many places like Topshop give discounts to students, so double check at stores before pulling out your money. Reporting for EyeOnSheridan, I'm Gabby Mendoza.
Turning to international news now, human remains have washed ashore following a military helicopter crash in Florida last night.
My personal thoughts and prayers to those of the Secretary of Defense at the loss of the folks on that helicopter. A reminder to us that those who serve put themselves at risk both in training and in combat.
7 Marines and 4 soldiers are presumed dead. Despite thick fog, search and rescue was able to recover debris from the UH-60 Black Hawk helicopter that went down near Eglin Air Force Base. A spokesperson for the base said the aircraft was practicing a routine training mission when it went down. The weather conditions at the time of the crash are unknown.
More than 1,000 Islamic State militants have launched another attack on the Syrian-Turkish border, this time against the predominantly Kurdish border town of Ras Al Ain. While it's believed the town of 50,000 is ultimately the target, so far fighting has been limited to the surrounding countryside. This offensive comes on the heels of the group's failed attack on the border town of Kobani earlier this year.
Over $12 million worth of jewels were stolen by armed robbers in France this morning. About 15 robbers attacked 2 heavily guarded vans transporting the gems on a motorway 200 kilometers southeast of Paris. They forced the drivers out of the vans and drove off with the loot. Police later found the burnt-out vans in a nearby forest, with the jewels nowhere to be found. The incident marks France's 4th high-end jewelry raid in recent years.
Pakistani troops raided the headquarters of a well-known political party in Karachi this morning. The soldiers seized a large cache of assault rifles and arrested about 20 suspects related to the Mahatma Kwame movement. A Pakistani parliamentary spokesman claims the movement shelters criminals and illegally places barricades in the streets of Karachi. Soldiers handed the headquarters over to the police for further investigation.
Today marks the 4th anniversary since Japan was rocked by a tsunami that took more than 18,000 lives and triggered the ongoing Fukushima nuclear crisis. 250,000 citizens are still displaced as completion of their housing has been pushed back to 2017. In most areas, radiation levels have dropped to a safe level for long-term exposure, although some areas still have dangerously high levels and are not slated for cleanup.
According to human rights activist Andrei Babushkin, the main suspect in the Boris Nemtsov murder case showed signs of torture on his body and was forced to confess to shooting the Russian politician. Investigators would not comment on the accusation made by Babushkin, but did say that he may have broken the law by publicizing details about the case. Babushkin and a journalist were allowed to visit the suspect's prison cell only to see the conditions under which he was being held.
Women's contraceptives may face restrictions if 2 new Iranian laws are approved. The proposed laws are an attempt to triple Iran's currently declining population. Amnesty International's deputy director calls the move an attack on women's sexual and reproductive rights. She added that authorities are promoting a dangerous culture in which women are viewed solely as baby-making machines.
The jaws of life were used to save a California dog, and the rescue video has become an online sensation. Authorities say the dog wiggled between the two storage containers at an elementary school in Southern California. Firefighters helped the owners free the dog using the jaws of life to force the containers apart. With a little help from the owners, Spike the dog walked out injury-free. Beautiful ending to a rough day. After the break, the latest in sports and entertainment.
And we'll head outside for your 5-day forecast. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to EyeOnSheridan.
So, Jared, with Marcus Stroman now out for the season, do the Jays have any chance at making the playoffs anymore?
Well, I mean, Lucas, at this point, Marcus Stroman only has one leg to stand on after tearing his ACL in spring training yesterday. The Blue Jays' projected opening day starter has been lost for the season with his injury. It now appears that young phenom Aaron Sanchez will be elevated from the bullpen to the starting rotation. The Raptors, who are looking to bust out of their post-All-Star game funk, played in San Antonio looking to sweep the season series with the Spurs last night. DeRozan cutting through the paint for a layup and an early Raptor lead. Tony Parker picks out Kawhi Leonard in the corner. Leonard drives the baseline and finishes with a two-handed flush. Tim Duncan lobbing from the arc finds Leonard again, and he jams it in over Terrence Ross, putting the Spurs up by 26. Danny Green ices the game away for the Spurs with his triple, and they send the Raptors to their fourth straight loss, 117-107. The Connor McDavid sweepstakes heat up tonight as the Sabres are in town to take on the Buds. Leafs team president Brendan Shanahan announced today that Nazem Kadri will sit out the next 2 games for ongoing team rule infractions and won't be available until Saturday's game in Vancouver. Busy night at the Bell Centre in Montreal for the Habs and Lightning in a battle for first in the Eastern Conference. Max Pacioretty breaks out of his own end, firing a shot with a big rebound for the trailing Jacob Delarose, but a big save by Ben Bishop. Scoreless and into overtime, the Lightning's Tyler Johnson circles in behind the net, banks in his own rebound past Carey Price, 1-0 Bolts win. TFC striker Jose Altidore has been awarded the first MLS Player of the Week award for 2015. Altidore scored 2 goals in TFC's 3-1 victory over the Whitecaps, giving the Reds their first ever league win in Vancouver. NFL free agency kicked off at 4 p.m. yesterday with a flurry of action that saw Saints Pro Bowl tight end Jimmy Graham traded to Seattle for Pro Bowl center Max Unger. Philadelphia was looking to make a big splash with a trade for Sam Bradford, signing running back Frank Gore, but Gore opted to leave the 49ers and joined college roommate Andre Johnson in Indianapolis instead. Did you know that when the Leafs are losing, people who feel it the most are small business owners? With more, here's an investigation into who has to tighten their belt when the Buds are brutal.
For example, just one round of the playoffs, and if I have 4 home games, it's a difference of 40 to 50% sales in the one day. That, after all your expense, it's all gravy, and we're not getting it now.
Why would I want to go and be depressed? I'd rather see a winning team be happy and enjoy the time out with friends and watch the game.
Owners aren't the only people impacted when their local sports teams are losing. Servers and bartenders that work there can be impacted financially by the lack of people coming in to watch the games.
It's difficult because your wage changes week to week, day to day, so you're not always bringing home the same amount. Because if there's no one in the restaurant, you get cut early, so not only are you losing out on your tips, you're losing out on your hourly wage.
now that the Raptors are doing well, people actually coming in and watching the Toronto Raptors play now, where I've never asked no one's ever asked for the Raptors to play.
Sports. Now for the latest in the world of all things entertainment, here's Danielle.
Thanks, Jared. A jury has determined Blurred Lines by Robin Thicke and Pharrell Williams resemble parts of Marvin Gaye's 1977 hit Got to Give It Up. Pharrell insists that the song was written independently, while Thicke told the court he was not present when the song was written, despite having received credit for it. The jury awarded Marvin Gaye's children $7 million. Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson closed out the Valentino fashion show as their Zoolander characters. Derek Zoolander and Hansel. It's been 14 years since Zoolander graced theaters, but Paramount Pictures has confirmed that the highly anticipated sequel is set to hit theaters early next year. Grammy-winning rapper Drake donated $75,000 to a Philadelphia high school recording studio. The 28-year-old Canadian said he was deeply affected after seeing an ABC News special about the difficulties at the inner-city school. The school thanked Drake for his generosity. The Juno Awards are set to air live this Sunday in Hamilton. Some of the biggest nominees this year for the Junos are Headley, Deadmau5 and The Weeknd, who will also be performing along with Shawn Mendes. Drake and Light are among the other nominees, and the band Rush will be honoured with a special humanitarian award. London, Ontario rapper Shad has been selected to be the new host of cultural affairs radio show Q. The artist was chosen after a long search involving over 200 candidates to replace the former host John Ghomeshi. The programme will keep its name when it relaunches in April. Now we have Andre Rooms, who covered Sheridan's Photography Award show exhibit.
You are the best of the best. This is one of our premier programs.
Conceptual photography is kind of a metaphorical thing, so the photograph is meant to have a bit more meaning than the actual, like, what lies in front of you.
It's the first time I've won an award. It's the second year that I've had work in the gallery. Yeah, it's just another milestone, you know, another accomplishment. It's good to have. Yeah.
So these photographs force us to reassess and reconsider and reflect and enjoy the world in very distinctive ways. And that is why photography is so prominent.
A picture is worth 1,000 words. But don't take my word for it. The show ends Friday, so head down to the gallery and see for yourself. For EyeOnSheridan, I'm Andre Rooms.
Sheridan students will be featured in a community art exhibition called The Live Diversity. The exhibition will display original work from the students, which is based on an interpretive jazz theme. The exhibition will take place at Oakville's Queen Elizabeth Park and Community and Culture Centre starting this Friday until April 13th. That's all for entertainment. Back to Molly and Lucas in the studio.
Temperatures have warmed up, but is this weather here to stay?
We'll have your 5-day forecast coming up after the break. Stay with us.
Coming back on one for weather.
With Chad. Welcome back to Eye on Sheridan.
Now for the 5-day forecast, let's check in with Nathan outside. Nathan, what's the weather look like?
With warm temperatures finally here, Lucas, it's about time to put those shovels away. Sheridan, we are currently sitting at a high of 7 with a wind chill of 3. As we make our way to the evening, expect temperatures to drop to about 0. Now let's look ahead to our 5-day forecast. Thursday, expect mainly sunny skies with a high of 2 and a low of -4. Friday brings us more sunny skies with a high of 6 and the low being -4. Strap those rain boots on for Saturday as we'll be getting cloudy skies with showers. A high of 7 with a low of 2. Sunday, a mix of sun and cloud with a 5 being the forecast high and -1 the low. Monday, expect a few showers with a high of 6 and a low of 2. Say goodbye to frigid temperatures and a hello to warmer days. And now, back to you guys while I catch a couple of rays out here.
Let's head back to our reporter Ryan Rossell in the field.
Thanks, guys. I was really excited to go all throughout Trafalgar campus today and look at all these brand new LED lights that have been put into place. Already with this new project, over 70% of zero emissions have been cut back and over $350,000 has been raised here at Trafalgar campus. All this just from turning off lights at the end of the night and doing what they can to save energy and save money. It's been a great start so far, and I'm looking forward to continuing out the week and finding other projects that we can look forward to reducing our carbon footprint. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Ryan. A photographer from Seattle posted a video of herself feeding 2 buffalo, and what happened next went viral. Caroline Walker Evans posted the video on YouTube and called it Buffalo Kisses. During the 30-second video, the buffalo impatiently grabs the pieces of bread with its freakishly long tongue. It's quite long. And Evans also told local reporters that she did not feel in danger and that she felt an adrenaline rush in the moment. Well, that's crazy. I don't know about you, but I'm terrified.
I've never seen anything like that.
But just on a different note, like there's so much that goes into this show here. We have Jared on sports and all the entertainment, and Danielle and Nathan and you and myself and everybody in behind the scenes. But there is one person that doesn't necessarily get the recognition that,
I know exactly
that he
who you're
deserves.
talking about.
And it's I know, and I'm just gonna bring him on. Let me bring him on.
Oh, he's here right now.
That's surprising. Look, well, he's arrived.
Chad, welcome.
This is Chad. Chad, look at the camera.
Welcome to the show.
So for those of you that don't know, this is the EyeOnSheridan mascot. He's a fantastic morale booster. He doesn't have much to say, but let me tell you, you can definitely get lost in his eyes, that's for sure. And he does love his Tim Hortons coffee.
That's all for today. Thanks for tuning in to Eye on Sheridan. I'm Molly Brown.
And this is Chad, and I'm Lucas. See you later.